everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we are looking at some more gaming stuff from Corsair. They sent over their new M65 RGB gaming mouse to take a look at, and this is actually very similar to the M65 that I'm assuming this is going to be replacing. So the differences, of course, are that they've changed the logo to their new gaming logo, and they also added some lighting effects as well. So you can light the back of it, light up that logo. I know a lot of you aren't too crazy about the logo, but you can light it up if you so choose. They changed the DPI indicator, so it's gone from kind of like a 3-level band here to a color-based one because you have more DPI options in the software, which I'll show you in a minute. And you have a light behind the scroll wheel as well. So they've added some cosmetic changes to it. They also moved the location of the sniper button. So on the old one, it was further up front. The new one has it in the middle. And I think this is a lot more comfortable because your hand will rest right where that sniper button is. And before, I was really, the way I hold the mouse, I was always out of reach. So I used to have to change my hand position to get to that. So this is a pretty welcome change to have that button kind of in the middle there. But beyond that, it really feels the same as the old one as far as its weight, its overall product industrial design. You know, the way it feels in your hand and the weight of it in your hand is pretty much identical to where it was before. They also still have the cloth wire here as well. And on the bottom, of course, it is still made out of metal. So you've got a metal frame and then removable weights here as well. So if you want to adjust the kind of the balance of the mouse, you can take these little weights out and give it a little bit different feel to it when you move those weights around. They added the same software now that you can use on the new Saber mouse that we looked at a couple of days ago, and it is extremely configurable, almost too much so, because you have very granular control now of not only what these buttons do, but also adding in macros and other things that go way beyond the M65 originally allowed you to do. The biggest change for me was the fact that you can now register mouse clicks in your macro, which you couldn't do on the old mouse. Now, I covered the software pretty extensively with the Saber the other day. I'm going to touch on it in this one, but if you want to see more of the software, check out my Saber review. But let's see how that software configures. First of all, you can, of course, adjust the lighting, so I can change the color of the backlight there, or I can also go over to my scroll wheel here and click on that and then just adjust that to a different color as well. So you do have a lot of neat options for that. But the real interesting stuff to me is the macros that you can assign to these buttons. So you'll see over here when I run my mouse over this top button or the up button, you'll see that it says activate crowbar, and that is something that I did in Half-Life 2, and I'll show you how this works in a minute. I'm going to go over here to the backward button, and I'm going to make a new macro that will do something similar as well. So I'm going to assign this a new action, and it'll bring up another screen here. I'm going to go to macro, and when I go to click on the options, I have a lot. So I could have it just record keyboard events. I can also have it record mouse movements. So when I move the mouse, it'll actually report back to the macro recording engine exactly what the position of the mouse was at that time. So I don't know where you would use that, but if you wanted to programmatically move a mouse pointer over to a particular part of the screen when a button is clicked, that's how you would do that. So what I usually do is the keyboard version, and then I have it record the mouse clicks as well, and I don't have it record the delays because you can actually have it record the period of time between the buttons or clicks. So if you don't really need to have that, I would just turn that off. Otherwise, your macros won't execute all that quickly. You can even record the scroll wheel as well. So you have a lot of options. The old one didn't give you that. The new one does. So we'll just say activate weapon here. We'll just give it a name, and then I'm going to go over to record, and what I'm going to do is have it select my little gun in Half-Life. So I'm going to hit record. I'm going to hit the 2 key, and then I'm going to have it record a mouse click and then hit stop. Now what it does often do is record the stop when you do it, just because you click the mouse button, obviously, so you can just select those and delete them, and you'll get back to where you were. So you'll see here that it recorded it as a button press and release. You could put a delay in there, so you could have to hold the mouse button down until a certain amount of time has passed and then remove it. You could also just insert an action manually. You could say just add a click event, and you can specify which button to click at that point in time. So that is how that works. So we're just going to hit OK here, and now you'll see that activate weapon has been assigned to that button. All right, so let's see this in action. If I hit the back button here, you'll see that it pulls up our handgun, and I can then hit the other button and get the crowbar to come up. And basically what that's doing is replicating the action of hitting the 1 key in the case of the crowbar and clicking the mouse. Do a little bit quicker than that, and you'll see that we can basically replicate that sequence into these buttons now using the macros. So pretty extensive there. Some other things, you can set up different profiles for different games that you might be running. You can also even assign different DPI settings for the mouse in different games depending on how you want to do that. You can adjust the sniper levels here. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And one thing that I found when I initially configured this is that the sniper button wasn't even configured. So they pretty much give you a blank slate, and you really got to get in there and start really tweaking it to get it to exactly where you want, because with all of these settings, I think they're probably not sure what their gamers want, so they kind of give you a blank slate to work from, so you really have to spend some time in here getting everything tweaked exactly how you want it. And you can always duplicate these. You can export the profiles and share them with friends and everything else. So really, you'll spend a lot of time in here, I think, when you first get it, trying to get everything to exactly how you'll want it. But I think for a lot of gamers, that's what they want, is really to be able to get it tweaked to exactly what their personal preferences are. So that is the Corsair Gaming M65 RGB. This is a really high quality product. It really feels nice in the hand. It's very heavy. It has some really nice mechanical clicking action. And if you're familiar with the M65, the predecessor to this one, it is pretty much the same product with the exception of that sniper button being in a different position and the significantly upgraded software. Unfortunately, the new software doesn't work with the old mouse, so if you have the old one and want more macro capabilities than you have right now, you're going to have to buy the new one to get at it. But it largely does feel the same as far as its overall feel in the hand is concerned. If this is too heavy, they do have a lighter one called the Saber, and it's like a featherweight compared to this one. So it runs on the same software. You have all those macro controls with the Saber if you want something lighter weight. But both are really good, and I really think if you are a serious gamer, you're going to like this mouse. This is Lon.TV, and thanks for watching.